Hear ye, hear ye. I am Michael Cross of the Lake Sumter, Sons of the American Revolution, and we are here to read the Declaration of Independence. I hope you all have a fine day today, for we shall have a good time reading this broadside. Hear ye, hear ye. This public assembly has been gathered for the reading of a document put forth by the Continental Congress on July 4th. This declaration is a bold and courageous proclamation of liberty, defying the British crown, and it will serve as the foundation of a new republic.
In Congress, July 4, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation until his assent should be obtained. And when he is so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish that right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of the public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them in compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and amount of the payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has effected to render the military independent and of superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretend legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretend offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule to these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, dissolution, and tyranny, already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy sacredly paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of their frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule is warfare and an undistinguishable destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act and much defined to a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislation to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have rendered them of the circumstances of their immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce the necessity which announces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war. In peace, friends.
We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
The signers are as follows: New Hampshire, Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton. From Massachusetts, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Treat Payne, Elbridge Gary. From Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, William Ellery. From Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Walcott. From New York, William Floyd, Philip Livingston, Francis Lewis, Lewis Morris. From New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkinson, John Hart, Abraham Clark. From Pennsylvania, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, James Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross. From Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, Thomas McKean. From Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Paca, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll of Carrollton. From Virginia, George Wythe, Richard Henley Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton. From North Carolina, William Hooper, Joseph Hughes, John Penn. From South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Hayward Jr., Thomas Litch Jr., Arthur Middleton. From Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton.
Huzzah!
You have just heard and seen a reenactment of the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence, which occurred in 1776 in Philadelphia. The reader was Colonel John Nixon, and that was read in the yard of the State House in Philadelphia, which is now known as Independence Hall. Now, that day, what this gentleman read, the names of the signers, was not read because there were no names on the Declaration of Independence yet. It hadn't been signed. Considering that the Declaration of Independence is actually the defining document of our country, it had a really short timeline. It began on June 7th when Richard Henry Lee proposed a Declaration for Independence. And just several days later, the Continental Congress, Second Continental Congress, asked to have a committee of 5 meet together to draft that document. As you know, Thomas Jefferson was the primary author of the document, but there were a lot of edits and he had help from the other members of the committee. It took a mere 3 weeks for them to do that, which is a very short time for a document this as important as this one. And it was July 2nd when Congress met to vote on that. Actually, they voted on the 1st of July, but it didn't pass. So on the 2nd, they voted again, and Continental Congress agreed that they wanted that to be our Declaration of Independence. It wasn't until the 4th of July, however, that they actually approved it, which is why we celebrate on the 4th of July now. The only handwritten copy that's signed of the Declaration of Independence is the one that appears in Washington, D.C. in the National Archives. The document was not signed until August 2nd, when 50 of the 56 signers signed it at that time. And the last signer did not sign until January of 1777, the next year. Around America 250, there have been some polls taken and some surveys done, and they found that 46% of Americans have no idea what the American 250 celebration was about. They had no idea that that commemorated the signing of the Declaration of Independence, or the approval. They also found that 21% of Americans have never read the Declaration of Independence. Another 46% have read it, but just parts of it. So, if today anyone heard the reading of the Declaration that had not read it or heard it read, then I think we had a really successful day today. And I want to thank you all. I'd like to thank these gentlemen here from the Sons of the American Revolution, the Lake Sumter chapter, for joining us for this event. And I'd like to thank everyone who turned out and served as part of our interactive crowd today for this reading. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Hi, I'm Candy Davis. I'm the regent of the Mary Ellen Robertson chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the local Leesburg chapter. And we were here today doing a public reading, a reenactment of the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence that occurred on this day 250 years ago in Philadelphia. And the reason it's important, first of all, throughout the country, not just DAR chapters, but all sorts of groups of people on this date read a public reading in commemoration of the first one. So we are joining a lot of other people on this day to do the same thing that they're doing.
And we're celebrating this 250th year of our country. And I want to thank Daughters of the American Revolution for having us read the Declaration of Independence, for it's given me a new understanding and a new appreciation of that on this July 8th.
And it has been an honor to read the signers of the Declaration of Independence, one of the documents that founded our nation. And I love to be with all these people and give them the information about who founded our country and what it actually means.
Reading the Declaration of Independence means everything to me. It shows our patriotism to our country, and it shows others that it's okay to be patriotic to your country. And this is what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted to keep this alive for 250 years and so forth, hopefully 300.
The reading of the Declaration of Independence today tells me how hard those guys tried, and it didn't take them very long, but they knew what they were doing. And to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the approval of this document shows me how our ancestors for the last 250 years have upheld this document and kept it going and kept us free, kept us safe, and kept things going like the original document signers intended it to be.
Reading this declaration, everything to do with our country and our freedom, and the freedom to be able to be out here and enjoy our freedoms on this 4th of July and this 8th of July as well, which was the first reading by John Nixon.
Celebrating America's 250th birthday of the signing of the Declaration of Independence really is just, it reminds me of what our founding fathers did for us to build up this nation and what they did for us to fight against those British peasants to bring us back our own country that we founded.
God bless the United States of America.
It's important to me that this be done. Obviously, we want to celebrate America 250 and draw attention to the significance of it. To me, one of the most important things is the education factor. So many people in our country, not just young people, old people, every age, are not nearly as informed as they should be about our country. For instance, only 46% of people that were polled in this country knew the significance of the America 250 celebration. They didn't know what we were commemorating. So I think it's really important that we make sure people know that. only 21% of the American public have even read the Declaration of Independence, our defining document, and only 21% of people have read it. Another 46% have read portions of it.
Could I request?
So I'm really glad that we're doing this today, and I'd like for us to make this an annual event so we can continue to draw attention to the importance of this defining document for America. Thank you.
It was wonderful reading today, as reading this declaration just makes my heart beam with patriotic pride. And on this 250th year, on July 8th, I can't tell you what it means to me to be here reading this today. Thank you very much. Happy Independence Day. Huzzah! Huzzah!
God bless America.
Huzzah!